Shall I go now?
Yeah, off you go.
Okay?
I'm ready.
Do you need a moment? So welcome back to, is this double digits? This is number 10, isn't it?
Yeah, it's number 10.
Yeah,
Number 10.
Are you sure now? Yeah,
I'm sure.
This is episode number 10. If it's not, we're just going to dub this bit out. But yeah, we're episode 10. We're welcome back. I'm trying to stop myself going like that because I don't want to do that anymore, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we're back for episode number 10. Obviously, we've just filmed another one previously to this. So if you've watched the previous episode, that's why we've got the same clothes on still, because we're doing two at once. And what are we wearing today, Leah?
Teal.
Because we are the Teal Deal.
I hope everyone else is laughing at that.
That's my dad joke for the day out of the way. That's that one done. Thank you very much. I ain't done one yet today. That's my first dad joke of the day, to be fair.
I'm glad.
So yeah, we are the Teal Deal. And we're just going to cover a few points today, talking points. Things that your clients ask you, I suppose. A couple of things that my clients ask me. They didn't really. These are all Leah's. I'm lying to try and sound good on YouTube. My clients didn't ask me any of these. These are all Leah's ones. Just some talking points, I think, really, that we're going to touch on today. Should we run through what we've got there and see if we can get through it?
We've got some little things that come up, tend to come up from...
regularly.
Yeah, things that come up a lot. So, things we're going to talk...
Leah didn't want to say regularly, so she just went, things that come up a lot.
Sometimes I can't get my
We know
words
it's a
out.
bad room when I'm getting dumbed down, all right? You're trying to dumb me down. We know we're in a bad room then.
Okay. What we're going to cover is throwing in the towel after a bad day. So that's quite a common thing. Not in competitors, but in people that are like getting into training or just from a mindset perspective.
Yeah, just a mindset thing with food, I suppose. And I suppose it could carry over a little bit into competitors, but not so much maybe with food, maybe just the general outlook on things and the way they sometimes can sabotage the prep, some people. Yeah,
maybe especially in like first people that are getting into competing and are quite new to it, they might think, what's the point? I'm never going to be good enough. Like, have I got what it takes? Which I feel like is quite a common thing in...
Yeah, I fucked one day up, so I might as well pull out with the 20-week prep.
Yeah, this is something we can... touch on actually, because I'm sure people have had this in preps where it's like everyone thinks that everyone's prep is perfect, and obviously some people
we know well, I know as well the behind the closed doors version of what really goes on behind Instagram.
So that actually
behind
might
Instagram,
be a good one to touch on, because no one wants to say on Instagram, I'm on prep.
Like, fucking hell, I ate so many rice cakes last night, or whatever it might be.
So we're going to do that, and then we're going to talk about if it fits your macros, is it all it's cracked up to be?
Yeah, that's a very good one, to be fair, because I believe like this came quite popular for good reason as well. Probably about 6 or 7 years ago, it seemed to really come into like trend.
Yeah.
And then it tried to carry over a little bit into bodybuilding, which it still does to a degree. And as we all know, well, we don't all know, but I'll tell you, because it says on my information when you inquire with me, no, if it fits your macros.
Yeah.
It literally says that on my information, because I'm not doing that.
Straight to the point.
I'm not doing that for competitors. And now it seems to be trending back towards, actually, we don't want to try and do that. It's a lot easier to do a meal plan and more efficient to do a meal plan.
I feel like my mind has been changing a lot with if it fits your macros over the last few years, because I used to be very, very anti-meal plan, even with clients. Like,
I know. When you came to me, you was full macros, weren't you? And I sometimes get, I don't know about antsy, but when someone comes and they're very, very, if it fits your macros prone, I'm thinking... see how they get on with a meal plan. But honestly, 9.9 times out of 10, they come back with, this is miles easier. Yeah. Because as long as you put enough variety on there and give them a little bit of looseness with freedom in certain areas, they're all right. Do you know what I mean? But,
so that's the second one, which we'll talk through.
We've just listed off all the subjects and
that's it. 10-minute podcast.
And then covered the topic.
I've actually deleted this one by accident. But it did say incorporating rest days, like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So again, more so like we'll just touch on that at the end.
Possibly.
And then getting into coaching for the right reasons, tips for starting out as a coach. So we're going to do a little bit of business.
Yeah, a little bit of
stuff in the middle.
Type one. We'll put that in somewhere in there. I think.
I mean,
I know I get asked a lot, and I know you do as well. Just for little bits of advice, because obviously we've both got, I would say, successful online coaching businesses. I'm pretty sure we probably both went into it in different ways. I'd be actually interested to know how you got into it. That'd be interesting.
Lockdown.
Was it lockdown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was forced into it because I had no money, had no income.
Yeah. Was you PTing before that?
Yeah, I was PTing, and then obviously.
Let's start here then, shall we?
All right.
Because I want to know this. Never mind all these people. I want to know. I want to know what happened with you.
I was
tell me.
So I actually PT'd at 3 different gyms when I was in Sheffield. So I was studying in Sheffield, started doing a bit of PT just to like help people out. I ended up in a Pure Gym. That was the last gym I worked in. So I actually worked in for a bit what's now the Ultraflex in Rotherham.
All right.
So I PT'd there
what was that called again?
It was Iron Athlete back in the day.
And then was it something else after that?
And then it went to the Ultraflex after that.
Wasn't there something in the middle?
Not that I can remember.
I'm sure there was. Anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, unless I missed that out, but I don't think there was.
No, I might be totally wrong.
But yeah, did that and then went to Pure Gym. Moved to Pure Gym just because of the type of client that was there. There was a lot more people that like needed PT at the Pure Gym rather than obviously there everyone knew what they were doing pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's quite an important one for PTs. And I get this.
Yeah.
I give this advice out a lot in Hull when I've spoke to people, PTs, and people want to go from. And it's obviously not online coaching, but starting a personal training business. I started in Total Fitness, which is, you know what Total Fitness is. Massive chain gym, thousands of members. You're on the gym floor, you're visible.
Is that where you do posing?
Yes, exactly where we have the posing
it's
workshops.
Like a big, like commercial
it's massive,
yeah.
And that's where I started, just because that was people what did then anyway. 2010 or 9, I started that. So that's nobody would go to a backstreet gym and do PT and then it wasn't even a thing. But what we do see now is, and I think it's a social media that they're trying to push through personal training on social media as well, which can work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. But there's a couple of people being in our gym in the last few years where I've said, go to a massive
a big gym.
Because I can see the PT business is failing. You get a few people in and they don't come back. And like, it's not everybody's vibe, and you can't really pick many people up off the gym floor in a backstreet gym, or what we would call. I think the world's changed. It used to be a big fitness centre, backstreet spit and sawdust gyms. That's where everyone went and got roided up, and sometimes there was a fight break out in the gym. Fitness centres full of like grannies walking around in the slippers. Didn't want to go there for a swim afterwards and all that.
Okay.
And there was no real middle ground.
Yeah.
I feel like that middle ground's been merged a lot now, whereas there's some gyms that are set up like Ultraflex that are like one of them fitness centres, but they're actually the same kind of atmosphere as like what a backstreet gym was with the equipment, the bodybuilders and all the rest of it. So it has merged a lot into the middle, but people are trying to go into these smaller gyms where they're not really picking clientele up off the gym floor because people probably already know more than them that are walking around anyways. You want to be building your name up from the fitness centres, in my opinion. In a lot of cases, there's instances where that's not true. So like, and this would be, so my best mate, Danny, would be a good reference point for this. He was a bodybuilder, so he's a bodybuilder, known in Hull for years by everybody. He always he was just a bus driver and then a security guard, and then like never did anything to do with like the fitness thing like that. The minute he wanted to become a PT,
because everyone knew him.
Yeah, everyone knew him. Full, doing really well. He's doing really well now with online coaching as well. He's doing a lot of that, smashing it. But everyone knew who he was before that. Do you get what I mean? So that's where his base has come from. Not everyone thinking, oh, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's hard, because if you're just starting straight in on like socials, you're such a little fish in a massive pond.
Yeah, you're just a drop, and unless you really stand out for some reason, which in a lot of cases could be the wrong reason, because you're doing mad shit to try and stand out. Like, it's quite difficult to do that. So for me, and this is what I did, and maybe that's why I think it's the best way to do it, but like, go to a big massive gym with thousands of footfall on there, build up a PT business, and then start getting results.
That's literally what I did. And it worked, because by the time I'd moved away from Sheffield, I'd spent 4 or 5 years in Sheffield teaching at multiple different gyms, talking to loads of different people. I taught boot camps at quite a well-off area. So there was a lot of like traction from that. And even now, sometimes I'll pick up a client and they're like, oh, I remember you PTing at BX, which is the first gym I worked at, and I was 19 there. So it's like, I'll still pick up clients now that, like, I still have a lot of clients in Sheffield because I worked there for so many years. And I just knew a lot of people, and then it's like people refer you, and
and you go places where people's got money to start with, spare money to give to you, to tell them to do 10 reps and whatever they're doing. Do you know what I mean? People are going to trust you because you look like you're in decent shape, and nobody in that gym's really in shape because it's a big fitness centre, and people like that are few and far in between. And then if you're any good at what you're doing, you'll get results.
And then start.
Then once that is builded, and then you can look at moving to a more of a backstreet gym where the rent's a lot lower, and you can bring people in from social media because you've got so many results and everybody knows your name and all the rest of it. So that'd be the advice that I give to PTs for definite. And to be honest, that's a great base to then go into online coaching.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, because what I did as well is I used to do the class, so I taught spin, body pump, LBT, all the standard classes. What I did is I picked the busy shifts as well. So I was like, can I have that shift, because I knew they were going to be busy, as well, like Saturday morning shift, for example, where the classes were. And then I used to speak to everyone, like go out and be like, oh, I'm doing this, like, do you want to do this?
Turn them over into that.
Yeah, and that's how I initially built up a client base.
And I think for me, that is massively important in the online coaching world, because you've got to know people. And like we've mentioned before, like sometimes you just need to ring a client and see what's going on. Sometimes
you need to be a people person to be a decent coach. You want to be able to know how to talk to people.
Well, I think you need to have spent all that time on the gym floor working with people, listening to why their plans failing, listening to this and that, this and like that. So then when your check-ins come through when you're working as an online coach and you read things, you pick up on things straight away. As opposed to like not really knowing because it's just a few lines out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's super valuable. And then starting to be an online coach nowadays, which is what we're trying to get around to really, you just need to put the fucking groundwork in. And the problem is I think everybody wants everything yesterday. And I think I would have been probably frustrated as well with this if this was the journey I actually chose to go on purpose. I didn't actually mean to do this. It all happened over a long period of time because I was just doing what I was doing and it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to be something successful, I think you need the groundwork. If you look at any online coach, anyone who's got any kind of success, they've been banging away for years.
That's the thing. It just takes
before anybody knew the name.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, they've just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No, they haven't. They've been working in gyms since they was 18.
Yeah,
They've worked with people who was great personal trainers. They've moved online. They've done a bit of bodybuilding or whatever area they might be specifying in. Blah blah blah, and this and that, and it kind of snowballs over time.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the problem with. Because people have asked me for advice on how to get started with an online coaching business. And sometimes I think, I don't really know what to tell you because I'm not like a business, like, you get these like people who work like gurus for like, do this and post that and all that shit. And like, I hadn't done any of that. It was just, I say mine happened on accident, but I suppose when you actually look at it, it was just happening because I was good at what I was doing, even though the long-term goal wasn't actually set yet.
Yeah.
I was just a PT. And then I started getting results as a PT, and then I moved into like more athletes as a PT.
You just like naturally progressed.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
But with no actual end goal. I wasn't really planning on going anywhere. I was just getting better in the moment.
Yeah.
And then it led somewhere. So I think to give anybody advice, you just need to spend some time doing that. And people don't want to hear that advice because they want to be the top PT coach or whatever next year.
Yeah,
and it's not going to happen.
Just a bit of a graft, isn't it, to get there?
Yeah, you need to work with people. You need to do this and that. And I know there's all the gurus of coaching and that selling online now to sell the services like 10k months. You'd easily be able to earn 10k a month and all this and that. And like, yeah, or maybe you will if you know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But things that burn brightly, burn fastly, and they disappear. So
you want to get a good foundation in place.
You need the foundation there, exactly.
With being a good coach, because I think some of the stuff, because I've worked with a couple of like people who've helped me get the back end stuff sorted, like setting up an email list, for example, and looking at my inquiry process. Like I've had a bit of help with stuff like that and getting that all like automated and things like that, which I do think has helped. But
that was to support the business that you were good at.
Yeah,
that didn't build the business.
Yeah, that just helped make everything a bit more like streamlined.
Yeah, it ran easier for you.
Yeah.
Being good at what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think putting time into like education as well, and like if you're starting out, do courses that are going to help you as well.
Yeah, spend some time learning off some things.
Like get in-person experience if you can.
Experience is king.
There's loads of courses you can do now out there that are like help you
probably save you a lot of time. I spent a lot of time, being honest. I learned everything I learned, all just going through the trenches. But like I said, I never really had an end goal. The education thing wasn't a massive scene.
Yeah, there wasn't much out there, was
when
there?
I was like, do you know what I mean? Nobody was doing now. It was just everyone was kind of doing what they was doing, and then like it's grown, and then there's a lot more stuff now. Like if I was starting again now, I'd go through a lot more of these education processes. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was a different scene 10 years ago. But yeah, just so like this will be the same for you. My number one advice for someone who really wants an online coaching business is just practice and be good at what you're doing. And instead of thinking about being over here, just think about what you're doing while you're here and get bastard good at that until you then move on to this bit, until you move on to this bit, until you move on to this bit.
Yeah.
And then you'll start getting all this stuff that people are promising you, like these 10k months and this and that everyone's trying to achieve.
Yeah, and I think also like really looking after the clients you've got and like making sure they're happy, because it's really easy when you get into it to be like, oh, I need more clients. And
that's a very good point. Yeah.
You're looking at, how do I bring new clients in? Whereas actually it's like, well, if my clients are really happy, they're going to tell people about me, and that's going to bring in more business naturally.
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. I get that a lot when I get people come to me that inquire and stuff like that. And they'll say, I've come to you because all your clients look so like happy. They look like they're having a good time. You can tell you've got good relationships with them. Like people say that to me. That's a massive
thing, I think.
Yeah, and that wasn't done on purpose. That was just, I wasn't thinking when I was doing it, when I was having a good relationship with my clients, this will bring me more clients. Do you get what I mean? I was just really focused on doing the best job I possibly can. And that often entails being be friendly with your clients and make sure they're having a good, make sure they're enjoying it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that will always bring you more work than, trying to, I've never actually gone down that route of thinking, right, sales, how do I get more people on board, blah, 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 purposely, do you know what I mean? Trying to do that. Man just always naturally grew by itself.
Yeah, because you get really, really good results as well. And obviously that draws a lot of people in.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. So
and that's the problem at the start, is a lot of people don't have the results to it's getting that started.
I've spoke to people who are spending they've got 3 clients. I spoke to a personal trainer a few years ago, and he just blew my head. He had a few clients, and he was on obviously I won't say the names of these people, but he's on so-and-so's course, spending X amount of £100 or £1,000 a month on learning the processes and this and that and all the stuff you told about from when you've already built a business. And then they were paying something like £700 a month for, and this was 5, 6, 7 years ago as well, 5 years ago. And they were spending £700 a month on somebody for the Facebook marketing, and
ads.
This and that. Yeah. And to run the Facebook and this and that. And they had a handful of clients. And it was what do you do? And I was
get good results.
Just post some pictures. When my client looks good, I just post it on Facebook because I want on Instagram, I think at the time, whatever. And that's all I was doing. And they were looking at me like I was an alien.
Yeah.
But that was when I was obviously PT and I was fully booked, waiting list for people to come and train with me and all the rest of it. I wasn't doing that, but just trying to do a good job on my clients.
Yeah.
That was all I was doing. So I think I can't think there's any other points where touching on really. It's probably not as glitzy as what people want to hear. Be good at your job and you'll work your way up the ladder.
Yeah.
But people just want to see good results.
Yeah, exactly.
So do the best job you possibly can with people. And if you're not able to do a good job, either you shouldn't be doing it or you need to learn how to do it better.
Yeah, and I do think it helped when I moved. So I was basically forced online because of COVID, because the gym's obviously all shut. So that really helped because I had the client base already. So a lot of them just then transitioned online with me. So I already had something to work with. And then obviously I started posting more about the online, and that then brought more people in because I already had some results.
Yeah.
So I think that helped.
Yeah, 100%. You've got a base. You've got a base. I didn't even want to go online. I wasn't even an interest in my mind. I didn't really care.
I think I followed you right at the start when you weren't.
Yeah, I was just doing it from the gym.
Yeah.
And the girls would come to see me. They'd travel, some of them an hour, 2 hours every week.
Yeah.
To do a PT session and a check-in. And I was prepping them like that. But I used to constantly get peppered by people for coaching online. And I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Because I believed then that I couldn't get as good a result by not talking to people in the flesh every single week. I genuinely believed that. And I genuinely believed I couldn't see them properly through a screen. So I was just like, no, I don't think I can do as good a job, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I got peppered and peppered and peppered. And then the only thing that changed it is when we had Daphne. Because obviously my missus at the time, she came out of work. She was self-employed. She PT'd with me. She come out of work. We weren't getting paid nothing for it because self-employed. And I thought, shit, I need some more money in the house. And Michaela was at me for ages. Michaela McDonald posing. All these girls keep asking me for years, going blah, 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 blah. And then she twisted my arm with one girl.
I remember you telling me about this.
I've probably told it on this podcast, so I won't go into the full story because it's probably quite boring, but she fully twisted my arm with this one girl. I took this one girl on whilst she was in labour with Daphne. I remember signing this girl up for I said, listen, I'll try it with you, blah, 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 and all that. And then she won the overall, she won all the shows, she won everything. And she'd never won anything before that. She didn't do very well.
And that was that.
And that was it. I just did one client, early season 19. I took 10 on, I limited myself to 10 for the end of 2019. And then that was all Natalie Crockford.
It's not really that long ago, is it?
No, it was only a few years ago.
Yeah, because I remember like that's how
we dominated that end of the season. We won bloody all sorts. But just with them 10 girls, there was all
Chloe
just smashing
Townsend,
it.
all them lot.
Chloe
I literally
Townsend.
remember all these girls.
Yeah, Chloe Townsend was one of them. I think Sophie Jenkins, or Sophie AJ, as people know her as now. Rhea, who won a pro card naturally that year. So we're going back to what we were talking about before. There was a bundle of them out of the 10 that just smashed it.
They were like my bodybuilding inspiration.
Yeah. And then obviously, same thing. We went into lockdown. And that's when I was going to move a bit more into online coaching. Then it was like, dropped right off because there were bodybuilders.
Yeah.
And I hung on to a few clients and just kind of coasted through 2020. And then I won't tell any more story after that. It's probably boring, but that's what launched it, really.
Yeah.
So again, it wasn't really. That's what I mean. It wasn't really. So when people ask me for advice, I'm like, I didn't really plan any of this.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it just came because I was decent at what I was doing, and then it just spirals, doesn't it? And spirals and spirals.
Yeah, it does just take time though.
It wasn't a plan, and I got forced out of the gym because I was getting too busy online.
Yeah.
And I had somebody competing on a Saturday, and I always PT'd on a Saturday, and I said to the client in the gym, "Do you mind if I bring my phone into the gym? Because I've got somebody." She was competing miles away, so I couldn't be there. And that was the day I decided I had to quit.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I'm not a PT that can take his phone into a gym, because to me, that's the worst thing you can possibly do as a personal trainer. My phone used to stay in the locker, do you know what I mean? So that was the day I decided to quit.
And that was that. And now look at you.
Yeah, that was Ellis McNabb. That was their fault. She was competing. And I had to be on my phone while I was with a client, and I just was not comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it just takes time, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, time and graft. So that was probably no secret that nobody wants to hear, but
it is the right answer,
actual truth.
And also, sorry, I feel like I've gone for ages with this. I think it's easy to like get sucked into stuff, like see what other people are doing. No, they're doing that, they're doing that, they're doing that. Yeah. And it's like just focus on
getting results.
What's your thing that you're like either good at or you
get results,
specialise in, you know.
Post them on the internet. Try and make your social media look fairly tidy. Stay present on social media. So post frequently on social media, because that is one thing that is important. Let's be honest. Like, you can't be a ghost on social media. If you want to be an online coach, you need to post at least 4 times a week, really.
And show your personality a bit as well.
Yeah, show some personality on there. It's easy. It's a piece of piss now, because you've just got a camera on your phone.
Yeah.
That is a good quality camera.
Yeah.
Just talk to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's just easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
Yeah.
So anyone else that's trying to sell you a load of fancy nonsense, you don't really need it. I think some of the fancy nonsense comes a bit further on, like when you said.
Yeah.
And I've took some help on recently.
Yeah.
Not the same type that you have. It's somebody that's actually working for me. Big up Shan. She's the best in the game. Shannon's been helping me. Obviously, my client Shannon White. She's working for me now, and she's the best thing ever. I'll be honest.
You have said that a few times, actually.
Yeah, she's literally the best thing ever, because I was so like trapped. I didn't take any help off anybody, and I'm terrible with technology, so I didn't have any like systems, as you would call it, in place. And she's come in and just changed all of that. She's just, honestly.
That's good though, because now you can do the coaching.
And not think about all the background
all
stuff.
That other stuff that she's really good at, and you can just focus on what you're good at.
Yeah, and she's changed all the like just things like starters, questionnaires, the way they go out, making them more efficient, and the way clients pay me, and that's on a direct debit thing that she's set up through a company, and like all these different things that just make my life so much less stressful. She's done that. But I was literally about to burst when I took her on.
Yeah.
I didn't take her on from the beginning when I didn't need anybody. Do you know what I mean? So it's like all the stuff that they're trying to tell you, and when they're talking about scaling, I suppose, and this and that, that I think that comes in further down the line myself.
Well, that's basically what you've done, but just like naturally.
Yeah, I got too much. When I took Amy on as a coach, I was never planning on taking a coach on.
Yeah.
It took me a lot to take a coach on, actually. I was turning people away left, right and centre for months and months and months, about a year, before I finally got convinced into it. I took Amy on. Great thing that I did in the end, because she's a great coach. She's done really well. Then that started getting really busy, and then I funneled that into Megan. Then Megan's come on,
and then Shannon.
I'm trying to run them two and figure out what's going on and look after this and look after that. And then I've took Shannon on to alleviate a lot of that pressure, which has been an absolute game changer for me and my mental health. I think she's probably saved my mental health, I reckon. And then so like, I mean, same as you pushed and pushed and pushed until you needed some help.
Yeah.
And then the people brought you some systems on this and that, on this and that. And then if you get to a bit of a bottleneck, I suppose, with progression, they can help you then take it that little bit further.
Go to the next step with it.
But yeah, I don't think learning how to be a coach from the beginning, like, all you need is an Instagram account and a brain. I don't think you need much more. You don't need much more than that, do you? Really?
You've got one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up, to be fair.
Yeah.
Getting into coaching for the right reasons. We kind of touched on that a bit in there, didn't we?
Yeah, we kind of touched upon that within that, getting into coaching for the right reasons. I'm telling you now, if you're getting into coaching purely for the money, you're going to fail. Or you're going to be a shit coach and people are going to see straight through you. Because, did you get into it for the money?
No.
I didn't get into it for the money. I didn't even cross my mind.
I didn't even plan to become a PT. I was like going to uni. I was like, I'm going to go into... I don't even know what I wanted to go into. I think it was like sports or like nutrition or something along those sorts of lines. And then it just kind of happened, and I was like, oh, I quite like this. So I'll carry on doing this.
Yeah, I was just trying to get out of hard work because I worked on a building site and I was trying to compete, and I was.
I bet that was a nightmare.
Oh, it was difficult, and then I remember I was getting ran into the ground for this prep. It was a fucking hard prep, and I was in a roof space, and I was on like. Whatever we was doing at the time, 2 hours cardio, 0 carbs, the drill back in the day.
Yeah.
And I started to pass out and I nearly fell through this roof space. And I thought, I need to stop doing this while I'm competing. And I wasn't going to quit bodybuilding.
So that I'll change career path.
So I fucked it off. And it was when the recession hit in 2008, all that crashed. So we, like 70% of the firm got laid off. So I got laid off, took my little $2,000 or whatever the gimmicks. I'd been there since school, paid for a PT course. That looks like an easier thing to do while I'm bodybuilding. And that's literally the reason I did it.
Yeah.
There was no like, I'm going to be a great PT. I PT'd as little as possible.
It's all coming out now.
I PT'd as little as possible as what I could get away with to have enough money to just be a bodybuilder. That's all I give a shit about. And that's literally what I did until I then moved out of my mum's house when I was like 25 when finally she booted me out. And I thought, fuck, I'm going to have to like make a business out of this now because I need some money. Funnily enough, every time I've changed career, I've just needed some more money for whatever reason, to live in a house, to have a child. I never really needed much. I'm a man of simple means.
Oh, yeah. So we kind of touched on that, didn't we, in the first one a bit, around like doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, just because you love it, man. Don't do something like that. I think nowadays in the world, there's so much opportunity around. The world's a small place. The internet's there for the taking. There's people teaching you how to do whatever you want. You can. There's a good chance. And there's this for like I suppose young people listening as well. Like that, you're still at your parents' house and you don't have to really commit to anything just yet. Like just have a crack at something you love. Because I just did bodybuilding because I loved it, and then that turned into a job.
Yeah.
I didn't try and turn it into a job and then do bodybuilding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It just like naturally evolved a bit.
Yeah, more. And if I'd have done anything else, I'd have tried to do that as well. If I did martial arts when I was young.
Yeah.
I told you this before. Yeah, I was like a black belt in karate or whatever. By the time I was like 11, like I was proper into it, and I kind of come away from it as a teenager. But if I'd have carried on doing that in my 20s, I 100% guarantee you right now, I'd probably own a load of karate clubs and this and that. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just gone down the route doing that.
Do you know what I mean? Because I can't personally focus on anything that I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
And that's just me. I got booted out of school. I couldn't focus when I was in school. That's just the way I am. But that's a blessing or a curse, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So if you can chase something down, and if you're a little bit savvy, there's always a way of making a living out of what you love. It might be a little money. It might be a lot of money. It might be whatever. But like, don't do things that you don't want to do. I couldn't do anything that I didn't want to do to make money.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I couldn't because I just. I won't say that's a bit extreme, but I just want to kill myself. But like, I wouldn't. But like, I'd feel trapped in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. And you can take coaching in so many different directions, though, can't you? Now, like, you can basically make what you want of it, which is what's exciting about it.
Yeah, I think so. And people have said this to me actually, and I didn't really think about it too much because I've always said, and you always laugh at me when I say this, and everybody always does. And I'm like, I need to get out by a certain age because I'm going to become irrelevant and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I need to get out by the time I'm in my early 40s because nobody's going to listen to a 40-something-year-old. They prefer with someone younger and all the rest of it. And I know you always laugh, but a lot of people say to me like, you just end up coaching people your own age when you get older.
Yeah.
So, like, as I've transitioned, I suppose, out of bodybuilding, this is probably no help to anybody, but we're talking about our own stuff now again. Like, as I transitioned away from bodybuilding, well, what am I doing with my lifestyle now? We just spoke about this on the last episode. like I'm living a certain way, I'm doing this. So like my interest is moving in that direction.
You'll just evolve naturally, right?
Yeah, so I suppose maybe as I get older, and then maybe I'll end up working with people that are coming away from bodybuilding, or people in the 40s that are like business people or whatever, and something. Do you know what I mean? You don't know where it's going to go. And I'm not pushing it in that direction, which I suppose comes back to the point of exactly what we're talking about. At the minute, my passion's fully in bodybuilding. In 5 years, it might not be. It might have dwindled. And maybe I want to be like, right, well, I want to look after people.
Yeah, that's what's exciting, though, isn't it? Like, you can
healthy, kind of like, do you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff. It might end up something like that, but I don't know about you, but I don't really think about what I'm doing.
Just focus on what you're doing.
Focus on what I'm doing now, And I think, as always with everything, and this is the same. This comes back to the property thing, because that wasn't really a driven plan. That was just something I dabbled with. It just leaded off into like, now I want to be a property guy entrepreneur. Do you know what I mean?
You're like, oh, Leah, I've got this idea. 18 houses later.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it just evolves. I think sometimes if you start one thing small, thinking about, like if I was to start doing property and then be like, look, I want to be,
it can feel a bit overwhelming, can't it?
Yeah, you think, well, I'm never going to get there. So I never really think about that. I just think about what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And that might mean overall, if you was to take a grand scheme of a plan, you might not be taking all the right steps. But then if you knew what all the right steps was, you might get frustrated that you're not taking them at the beginning. I'll just take each day, year, month as it comes.
I think that's a really good mindset to have, though, with anything. It's like,
I think that's why I'm always happy.
Yeah, because you're not always feeling like you're failing or you're cutting anything short.
There's nothing to fail.
I'm
just doing the best I can do at everything that I do. Yeah, sometimes things go wrong, but like if there's no massive, I don't know, you can put a lot of pressure on yourself with these grand master life plans and this and that.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking do what you like and have a real good go at doing it well, and then try and get some people to pay for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just do the best job you can. So if you focused on that, because I suppose if I focused on, like with my job, obviously my goals is always to, like, now for where I'm at, I win the British titles with people every year, we win the university titles, we win this and that. But if I was to just like solely focus on that, and then people didn't win it, I'd feel real down.
Yeah.
But even now, I don't really focus on that. I just focus on doing the best I possibly can with the clients I've got competing. And then wherever the cards...
Yeah, wherever it falls, it falls.
Yeah, wherever the cards fall, then I've done the best I can with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it'd probably be a kick in the balls if I've won everything for the last few years and then I don't win. But I've still done the best I can with people, and as long as they're happy, that's the main thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it, and that like leads on to the next question actually about time.
It's almost as if we planned it.
I know, about like throwing in the towel, like if something doesn't go to plan, and kind of like the mindset around that.
That actually does lead well into
that.
It
does, doesn't it?
I didn't do that on purpose, I swear.
Great, well done.
Well
this
done,
is good.
Dan. You're so clever. As usual, I just did it by accident.
It just happened.
Story of my life.
Yeah, so you can take this in regards to like kind of what you just said there. If someone's starting out on a prep, or they're just getting into bodybuilding, you can look at this from like lifestyle on bodybuilding, but it can feel quite, if you're looking at bodybuilders that are doing really well and you're thinking, I want to win this title, or I want to win that. It can feel like a massive thing if you're starting from the square.
Jesus Christ, looking at them people that are so far away, like, you've got to think like these bodybuilders, and I'll talk about this from a male perspective, I suppose, like as I am a male, and I was a male bodybuilder. I still identify as a male, but not a male bodybuilder. The fucking size of the bastards, fuck me. You're spending a long time doing that. And this is the advice that people ask, like, how do I get, and obviously people don't say it to me as I don't look like as much anymore, but like, how do you get so big? How do you get like that? Is it this, is it that? And it's like, see what you're doing now there?
Do it for 10 years.
Do that for another 10 or 12 years, and you're going to be somewhere near. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the same, I suppose, across all aspects, like we was just talking about with business and all the rest of it. Just keep showing up, doing your best, and eventually it'll come, and you need to be patient. But it's difficult for people now with social media looking at these giant bodybuilders or really good figure girls or bikini girls, or whatever it is, to feel like you need to be there tomorrow or next week or next month, or why I don't seem to be progressing as fast as them and all the rest of it. And that can be quite toxic for your mind, I think. Yeah,
it's really hard because then people get into the mindset, and you can do this with lifestyle as well. It's like, what's the point? I may as well just give up because I'm not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you're never going to see it, are you, day to day? Because it's just these tiny little changes. And it's even the same if you've got a massive weight loss goal, if you don't feel very happy or you don't feel very confident and you want to lose weight, you have a week where you gain a bit of weight, or you feel like you've had a really good week and then the weight doesn't move.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, what's the point?
What's the point? Might as well just stop.
May as well just not bother at all. But then you're definitely not going to get there.
Yeah, 1,000% not going to.
You know, so you may as well just keep showing up and putting the effort in, because it's not doing you any harm. You know, it's not giving you any bother. So if you just keep going and going, you'll get there. It's just
100%.
You know,
I've never met anybody in my entire life who's put their absolute all effort into one thing and never got a result from it.
Yeah.
Whether that be as big as somebody else's result or not, there's nobody on planet Earth who has put their absolute all into everything and no progress has been made.
Yeah.
Whether that's weight loss or building something in the garage or working out a problem or doing a degree at university or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody that's put their absolute legitimate all into something and not moved forward with it.
Yeah. And also I think it's like, it's really easy to, I'll get this with lifestyle clients a lot. And they're like, I don't know, I'm not making the progress. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Why am I bothering? But it's like the same as, you know, or if you have a bad day, what's the point? But it's like, well, they're looking at it as like such a, I need to be perfect for 8 weeks. And I think a lot of women struggle with that. It's like that all or nothing mindset around, I need to do this perfectly for 8 weeks and that's it type thing.
Yeah.
And then if they have one day where it doesn't go to plan, they're like, oh, that's it then. I've messed it all up.
Yeah. And I think, as we said, like, I think before we started, like that can transition over into bodybuilding mindsets as well, where like, and this is a difficult subject to broach, isn't it? Because you do need to be 100% on it with bodybuilding. You do.
Yeah.
But people slip up.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about this actually, because I'm intrigued.
Yeah, people slip up. And like, what you see on Instagram is bollocks. People mess up all the time, but it's not something that people really often speak about, or it might be small amounts of messing up. And obviously, I've coached tons and tons and tons of competitors, so I know what goes on, and they won't even tell me all of it, probably some of them.
Yeah.
And people do mess up, and you don't read about it on Instagram, so it's easy to assume that they haven't messed up because they've still made the show and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you can mess up all the time or you can just cheat on your diet.
Yeah.
And this is why it's difficult to talk about, because I don't want to give the impression that it's still achievable if you just fuck up all the time.
Yeah.
But people slip up now and again and they don't wrap it in. They just put that behind them and crack on.
Yeah.
You might lose a week's progress because of it or whatever, depending how bad it is. But they keep moving forward and they try and catch up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. So even if you're competing and you've done a couple of little mess ups, like, just keep moving forward. That's
the biggest thing, isn't it? It's like not letting that spiral and snowball and just carrying on. And it's the same with anything.
Put it this way, there's a lot more competitors mess up than that don't.
Yeah.
And you won't know that. And I didn't know that because I was 100% me when I was competing. Never. And I've been asked this by a couple of old bodybuilder mates that I've spoken to when afterwards everyone's retired and we're out having a couple of drinks or whatever, and they'd be like, how often did you like cheat on your diet? And I'd be like,
what's that?
Never. Did you? And they'd be like, yeah, now and again, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But they would never told me that at the time. But to me, I couldn't, like, I couldn't fathom cheating. And I know you're the same as well. But that don't mean to say everybody's like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that took me a little while to get used to with coaching as well, because I used to think, these people for real? Like, what do you mean cheating on your diet? Do you know what I mean? But it is something that goes on. And like I say, I don't want to advertise that as something that you should be doing or getting away with, or like it has wrecked people's preps as well. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, if it's same even with people that aren't competing. Like if you're going out smashing a load of calories every weekend or every week, obviously it's gonna stall your progress a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones with people that compete is little things that they do on a day-to-day basis that they don't think add up. So they might not wear the peanut butter,
right? Yeah,
and then also they might not. Or they'll eyeball their oats, or they'll this or that, and just little things that I think people do that they don't think too much of, but if you're starving, you're always going to end up eating a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? That would
really stress me out.
And I'll always see this with people that just make really fucking slow progress.
Yeah.
And then when I give them a bit of boot up the arse, like, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I am. Yeah. But then miraculously,
they start moving again.
They start moving very quickly. Yeah. There drops from that point, and I think it's just because they're messing about.
Yeah.
Or they'll have some here and there or whatever. But like I say, without the boot up the arse, they wouldn't have made the show. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, going back to the initial point, it is an hard one to talk about this. It's hard because people might be watching this and think, oh, well, I can have a couple of rice cakes tonight because Dan said people fuck up all the time. But like, there's a lot of people that don't make the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they make the life hard work. And the problem is, if you don't tell your coach, you end up getting more cardio, less food.
And then you're in a slippery slope.
You're in a very slippery slope. Because then what you might start doing is then eating what you was meant to be eating before you made the changes, because that would have changed your body if you've actually been sticking to it. And then you're just on these completely different pages of what you're actually doing to versus reality. Yeah. And I do honestly think in a lot of instances where you see these people, and I've had this conversations with coaches, with some of the other, like, what you'd class as the top coaches, and they'd be like, they had me on 800 calories and they had me on 2 hours cardio and blah, blah, blah. But these fuckers have been out there smashing dominoes twice a week and they don't mention that bit, or they're binging on this and that and blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't mention that. They just crucify the coach for, like, having to hammer them into the show or whatever they've ended up doing. So that's a common thing as well. Do you know what I mean? So...
But the coaches are doing what they need to do to get them on.
Well, the coaches are doing what they assume they need to do at the point, which probably never needed doing if they'd stuck to the plan in the first bloody place. Honest. Yeah, because it's like if you had a client who was getting ready for a show and they don't lost weight that weekend, but they told you they'd smashed in a Domino's and some ice cream. You wouldn't change
anything, would you?
You wouldn't change anything. But if you lie, then they're going to like, shitting me. How are they not moving off this? We're going to have to do something. Yeah. More fat burns or this or that, or more movement. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
so it's always just better to be honest.
You always need to be honest. Like, for me personally, as a coach, and I'll say this, and any of my clients that is watching, like, I'm not gonna, like, you just need to know. Do you know what I mean? Because it's only going to end up worse for them. Yeah. So they're trying to hide some embarrassment of picking on a few bits and things. I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it? Though, like, people are embarrassed. Oh no, Dan deals with all these like top girls, and none of them fuck about, and they're all 100%, and he's going to think I'm a loser. So I don't. You just end up with a worse prep. You just end up with a terrible prep. So it's always just best to be honest, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're not going to tell you nothing you ain't seen before, I'll tell you. I've seen some mad shit.
Yeah, so basically most people mess up at some point.
You can only, yeah, they do.
And I say this sometimes, you've probably heard this at least before, but it's like, I'll say this to sometimes my lifestyle girls when they've like struggled and they say, oh, I just thought, oh, I'll just sat the weekend off, go and have a takeaway, whatever, because I ruined it. Yeah, start again Monday. And it's like, well, if you think about it, like if you popped a tire, you wouldn't just think, oh, that's it. You'd get your tyre fixed, wouldn't you? Yeah. So it's the same thing. And a lot of the time when I say that, they're like, oh yeah, like I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's done, crack on, look at what you can do, move forward, learn from it. What can you put in place?
Sometimes that's genuine. Sometimes it's probably just an excuse to, like that they're giving in it. I just wanted to have the weekend off. So
yeah, defo.
Yeah. It's a never-ending thing. But yeah, so all the shit that you're watching on Instagram, it's not, a lot of it's not real.
Basically.
Yeah. But the best bodybuilders are on it.
Yeah. And it is hard, right? And it's like,
oh fuck yeah, it's hard.
I get clients say to me, oh, you're so disciplined, how do you, I think I did something, I think when I was on prep I got like a cookie box and I put it in the freezer, and a couple of my clients like, oh my god, how did you not eat it, how are you that disciplined?
It wouldn't even enter my mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
It wouldn't even be on the option like thing. I just look at it. I used to sniff stuff, mate.
That's actually crazy.
I used to sniff things, but I used to get a buzz out of it because I used to think in my head, I'm strong. I can stand here and sniff. Because my missus at the time, when I was on one of my last preps, she was running a baking business out of the kitchen. Yeah. And we lived in a tiny fucking house, a little 2 up, 2 down house. There was nowhere to go. And it was chocolate piled up coming out the microwave and swelled in and all that and like that. It didn't even enter my mind to think about eating it or putting a spoon in it or anything like that because it wasn't on the options. But yeah, I used to just sniff stuff because I used to get a buzz out of thinking in my head that I was stronger than the majority of humans, that I could be starving the git off myself, walking around with pretty much no body fat at the time. And I don't need that. Yeah. I'm stronger than that. Yeah. And I'd get a buzz off that, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas most people would cave or they'd have a little bite or they'd do this or do that or whatever. It used to drive me the opposite direction, if anything. Yeah. I'd be more likely to cheat in the off season and just eat a lot of stuff that I want maybe went to weeks it didn't really matter. Yeah. But when it really mattered, I'd be like, nah, I'm stronger than everybody. That was my mindset. I can't be broken. Yeah. I'm stronger than anybody. Nobody will outwork my brain and commitment to what I'm doing. And that's just how I was. Yeah. Mad. It is mad, actually, isn't it? Yeah, it's actually crazy when you think about it. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about it the other day in the gym, a bodybuilder, local bodybuilder to us. It was a good bodybuilder, actually. And he was saying, like, he had to fast. to make the classic weight or whatever class that is in the IFBB classic where they've got to make a weight thing. He had to like fast for 36 hours, like 2 days out from the show or whatever, or 3 days out from the show to make the weight. And he was like, I didn't care. He said, I was just chewing on these nicotine things, about to die. I didn't give a fuck. And he's like, if you tell me to do that now, I'd be like, you can fuck off. You know, because in his off season, but you're that. Your brain's
that zoned in on it.
In it at that point, you could literally do anything. It's mad.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes down to as well, like taking the decision making away. Because I think a lot of the time, you know, if you got someone that is like having to think all the time, when you got people tracking their food, right? For example, like I work with a lot of girls that track their own food, that track the calories. Yeah. They don't follow like meal plans or anything. And it's like you're always having to make decisions. So you're always thinking, oh, shall I do that? Shall I not? And it's like when you're dieting and you're tracking your food, you've always got decisions in your head. Oh, shall I track that in? Shall I have that? Shall I have this? And there's only so much willpower someone's got, right?
Well, I used to have this problem when I prepped myself. Yeah. So when I was prepping myself for shows, and this is why I ended up getting a coach. Yeah. I had a coach in the early days, and then I kind of did quite a lot in the middle on my own, and then at the end, I got in a coach to help me. Because I was coaching myself at the time. I was a coach at the time when I was coaching myself. I kind of like knew too much. So I'd be out on my cardio in the morning, and I'd think, I could do this. Actually, I could do it this way. I could do it that way. And I didn't realise how mentally tiring that actually was, what I was doing to myself. I'd have changed my plan for the next week 3 times by the time I get back off my cardio, just because I knew the 3 different ways that I could move to the next stage. And then when I finally just gave that away to somebody, fuck me, it was such a release.
Like mentally.
Oh my God, I remember it. I remember thinking, why have I been doing that? Why didn't I just do this before?
Yeah. But it's the same even when, you've got, I think this is why the meal plan structure works better on prep, because you're not having to always fight willpower. And I think it's the same even when you've got someone that isn't prepping, that's just like dieting or whatever. If you're not having to constantly make decisions, it just makes life so much easier. And then you're more likely to be consistent. And I think that's why...
Well, with the macro thing, you'll be trying to fit in what you can get.
You're trying to wangle everything in. And then you're thinking, we've touched on this before, but you're thinking, oh, if I take the rice out of my dinner, I can have this chocolate bar instead. Yeah. And before you know it, you run out of calories. It's 4 p.m. and you're absolutely starving. Yeah. And you sat there thinking, well, now what? I've got 18 grams of fat and 55 grams of protein left and no carbs. So what random concoction can I put together for my dinner?
Georgie actually told me about that, because the first prep she did, Georgie Cooper, she did it one with me, but she did like a macros thing. Yeah. And she was saying like by dinner time she had nothing left to eat. Yeah. Yeah. She'd eaten it all before dinner.
Well, that's the problem. I think if it fits your macros, only works if you're going to pre-plan your food. Yeah. Like you can't wing it and expect to still get a good result.
In which case you might as well just have the plan. I think if you've got a good diverse meal plan, with not in contest prep, you don't want flexibility on there, but a good diverse meal plan with all different types of foods, all the macronutrients spread nicely, it's pretty sound, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I also think like it freaks people out because they think, oh my God, like what if I want something that's not on there? But you can still swap. Obviously not so much when you're on prep, but like you can still have a structure and then swap things around a bit.
Sometimes macro match a bit, for an off season. I think just the consistency for your digestion and your mind is very good. But then I will say to some of my clients, more the ones that are a little bit more experienced and I know that will know how to do it, I'll be like, you can switch out, you can macro match a meal if you want, you know what I mean? If you're out on something, as you know, I put a lot of free calories on my plans, and so you're never really stuck anyway. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Well, I'll do that with a lot of lifestyle clients. I'll like help them plan a day. So we might say, right, let's do, and I'll give them multiple options. So I might say, right, here's like 4 breakfast options, and I'll just macro match the breakfast for them. Yeah. So they're the same macros, or at least the same like protein and calories. And then so they've got a structure. They know how many meals roughly they need to be eating. They've got like 3 or 4 ideas for each meal, so they don't have to eat the same thing every day. Yeah. And then I might say, right, these are your calories and your protein for your evening meal. Go and track your own evening meal. Yeah. So that works really well, because then they're only having to forward to. Yeah, they're only having to think about one meal of the day. Yeah. And they know when they get to the evening, they've got a decent evening meal, rather than being like, I've got 189 calories left for my dinner.
Yeah. Oh, you know God. I mean? Might as well just throw the towel in.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And then they're like, oh, sod this. I'm starving. I can't be arsed. I'll just get a takeaway.
Yeah. That's the main thing you're trying to avoid when you're dieting is hunger.
Yeah, which is probably going to come if you're just winging your day.
Oh, 1,000%, yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, so I think even for people that aren't prepping or, Because I keep seeing things all the time at the minute, like stop putting people on meal plans, it's ruining their relationship with food, like blah, 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 blah. But I think it doesn't have to be. I think people think meal plan and think chicken, rice, broccoli.
I knew you were going to say chicken, rice and broccoli, yeah.
You know what I mean? People think, but it doesn't have to be that basic. You can literally...
We're a lot further on than that now,
You can have spaghetti bolognese. You can have I don't know, homemade burgers and chips. Like you can literally build in whatever you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be set in stone.
Yeah. Totally agree with you.
I've just gone on a meal plan rant.
I know. Who would have thought when you joined me 4 years ago, whenever it was, that you'd be on here now ranting against for meal plans?
I know.
She's a meal plan activist.
Literally. No, but I was one of those people that thought you were going to make me chicken, rice and broccoli for every meal.
Yeah, but then you had a bad experience with your first prep, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which then needed all refixing and giving you flexibility with your macros, things and all the rest of it. And then it's just whatever suits the person. Do you know what I mean? And like I have said a few times, people who come and switch off, they're like, oh, actually, this is miles better.
It's so much easier. And it gives you so much more time to actually think about everything else in your life rather than always thinking about what am I going to eat for my next meal? Does it need to fit in my calories? Because I think sometimes that that amount of thinking, it makes the food focus worse, and then it can actually worsen relationship with food.
That's why I actually think it's sometimes not a great relationship with food if with the wrong person.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say to me as well, and this is not to do with the relationship with food, but they'll always say, bloody stood there at 10 o'clock at night looking in the fridge, seeing how I can get 12 grams of fat, 15 grams of carbs and 30 grams of protein into what do I pick? What can I? And it's just stressful.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I've been in that position, and it is it just messes with your head up because you're always thinking about what you can eat and what you can't eat. Whereas
and tracking, which a truly healthy relationship with food shouldn't involve tracking, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good tool to use as and when, but not.
Yeah, because if you're truly at peace with everything, I've never seen my mum and dad track a meal.
Yeah.
My mum and dad are good examples actually, and probably this is where I get it from a little bit. They eat well.
Yeah.
They have some stuff when they feel like it on a weekend. Yeah. They start getting a bit fat. They stop eating too much shit.
Yeah.
Until they're not as fat anymore, and then they just go back to what they were doing. And then they just live like that. So my mum and dad had never fat.
Self-regulate a little
bit. They just self-regulated, but they don't know what calories are in what, they don't know what fat's in what, they don't know what. To me, that's a really healthy relationship with food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're enjoying it sometimes. They know they can't take the piss because it's not good for the health and they'll get fat or both. And then when they start getting a bit fat, like my dad, if he's been drinking beers too many nights, because they're retired and whatever, he's been drinking beer too much on a weekend and whatever, and his belly starts getting a bit big, what does he do?
Stop drinking beer.
He stops drinking beer for 4 or 5 weeks, and it all goes back to that. And then, do you know what I mean? To me, that's and I've never heard them think, I better start. Do you know what I mean? And that's maybe a bit of an extreme or non-extreme example, but that's healthy.
Yeah, I'll get a lot of clients that'll help them track the food for a bit because they need that initial understanding of what's in certain foods.
1000%.
And then
I suppose your end goal is then for them to be able to
stop tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll take them through the whole journey. So for a lot of girls, they've never tracked in their life. They don't know
what's in what.
They don't know what's in what food.
Yeah.
They're cooking the food in loads of olive oil because they think it's healthy, which is great, but maybe 5 grams, not 25 grams, So we'll get them tracking the food. Yeah, educate them, what's in food, how to structure your day.
Yeah.
And then they'll get the weight loss goal, great. Then we'll reverse dial them back up, get their calories in a healthy place, and then transition them away from tracking. And then they're set.
And that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Because not a lot of people have got that internal nous type thing.
Yeah.
Like I just said about my mum and dad, not a lot of people have got that internal regulator. No. And the world's so fucked with food now, when you start looking at it,
it's so messed up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mostly. I mean, I know he's a bit of a controversial character of that Eddie Abu. I find him quite interesting with all the stuff he's saying. But when you actually listen to him, you think, bugger me, he's right. And then you look at him walking around the supermarket and just all these shiny colours and trying to get you to eat this and that. And it is just it's horrendous, the food industry, when you look at it and the marketing that goes into it to get people to eat the shit that they're trying to make you to eat. No wonder nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and even then you've got Slimming World shouting out things like, oh, you can eat as much pasta as you want, but don't eat mashed banana. What?
Yeah, don't eat your mashed banana. Yeah, it's some mad shit that they'll be up to as well.
It's crazy, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's a minefield. I feel sorry for people that don't understand. But at least, I don't feel sorry for them because there's so much people like yourself doing such an amazing job with them now that it's always there for them to try and learn. But it's if they want to learn, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's if they want to learn. Not everyone wants to live like
And obviously, it's quite a lot of effort. Like when you're learning it and you're putting time into planning, like it does. It is time and effort invested into it as well.
You've got to invest into it. But if you want to live longer, look better, feel healthier, be healthier, then that's worth it for me.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't know what we was talking about to get onto that.
We were talking about if it fits your macros, meal plans.
Yeah. We got onto that.
It just naturally transitioned, didn't it?
Yeah.
And that's that.
Is that all of it?
Rest days, but I feel like
have a day off. That's the rest days bit.
Make sure you're training hard enough that you need the rest day.
Yeah.
I'll get this. I had a client recently who was like, I was like, what? Because one of my questions in my check-in is, can you go through your plan for your training for this week so I can like check it's all planned in properly? And I think she got like 8 days in a row, and I was like, what are you doing here? You're doing legs every other day, like, and it's like actually getting training hard enough so you've got the time to rest as well.
Yeah, 1,000%. Because I don't train that hard anymore because I'm not bodybuilding. Funnily enough, I've never needed a deload since because there's nothing to deload. There's no weight to deload.
Fresh as a daisy every day.
Yeah, I just train whenever I want. I train 4 times a week, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I could probably train 6 days a week now with the way I train if I wanted to. Because I'm not training hard enough to worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have never needed a deload, you're probably not training hard enough. If training every single day, you're definitely not training hard enough.
Yeah.
That's rest days covered.
That's that. Goodbye. That's nice and easy.
Should we wave again?
I'm not sure if I like this new signature exit.
See you later. See you on episode 11. Start
Thanks
waving,
for watching episode 10.
Please wave, Leah. I'm on my own wave.
Remember to like and subscribe and share as well.
And all that stuff, yeah.
We're getting a few tags now on the Instagram.
Are we? I don't know what... Shannon was taking the piss out of me the other week because I'm not... As you know, I'm not savvy with anything. This is why. Leah does all the YouTube, by the way. Shannon has set me up a YouTube channel now, apparently. I ain't seen it. And she was setting me up, or she was doing something, because I've never actually subscribed to YouTube or whatever it is. What do you do? Like sign up to it or whatever. And then she's got access to all my Google stuff now, so she's gone on there to get the podcast to do bits and pieces. She was like, she said, you don't even follow Leah or subscribe to her, whatever it is. She went, don't you think you should? And I was like, I don't even know how to do that if I wanted to. So there's you telling people to subscribe, and I ain't even signed up to YouTube. I still have the adverts on, man.
Oh God,
I need to get rid of that.
Well, you can subscribe to the.
How much is YouTube a month to get rid of the adverts?
I don't know. I still have the adverts.
I
use the free one. I do.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, so that's fine.
I don't even know if I've got an account, or I must have an account anyway because Shannon
will have sorted you out.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm coming onto YouTube near you soon. We're going to be doing some more stuff. We're going to be filming at the shows and stuff as well. I've got videographers booked in for the shows and stuff, so we'll get that uploaded onto YouTube. And yeah, now I've got people that can help me with the things that I don't understand. I'll be a lot more present in areas that I was never present.
Yeah, that'll be cool though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think people will be buzzing.
I bet a lot of people will be excited actually to see their
behind the scenes.
I think a lot of people will like watching because they'll see results, but the process of getting
how we get there,
results with the client and stuff like that will be quite cool to watch.
Yeah, and some show day bits and pieces and stuff like that. Cool. And so I think we're going to try and do some, because it doesn't have to be like a weekly YouTube episode or anything like that, does it?
Just as and when.
But I know we were filming. When the hell am I filming? What day is it today? Sunday. 2 days. I'm filming in a couple of days. A couple of the girls coming over. Shannon's actually one of them. Yeah. Because she's competing soon.
Yeah.
And then I've got Katrina coming down from Scotland. And a couple of girls who are local in Hull that are going to pop in for check as well. I'm going to fill them training. I know Shannon spoke to Nikita, who was doing the filming for it, about possibly making it into a YouTube.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Out of that. So we'll try and get some YouTube out of that. We'll see. I'm getting there.
Yeah. But anyway, go and subscribe.
I was waving ages ago, and now I've just carried on talking for 5 minutes. I'm not waving again.
I'm plugging everyone to go and follow you.
Yeah. All your followers go down on YouTube, and mine goes like this. They've all left.
Great, thanks.
We share everything anyway. I'm going to have all these episodes on my YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So we'll get all them going on there.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on. I just do what people tell me to do. I'm here talking. Dan, do you want to go to a podcast studio and talk for 3 hours? All right. I can do that. I've got a sat nav and I can talk for 3 hours for definite.
Anyway, go and follow Dan's YouTube.
Yeah, when I get it, I'll let you know what it is, what it's called.
Yeah. And we'll be back
for episode 11. Now we'll be in double digits.
Bro.
In a few more weeks.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.